And we are here, folks, and welcome to the Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm your host, Sherman Ray. Come to you Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Talks about people, places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. And it's Cyber Monday, folks. That's right, Cyber Monday. We are just a little after Thanksgiving. Thank you all. I hope you all had a great time. Eat plenty of turkey. And from what I hear, if you haven't eaten all the turkey and it's been sitting in your refrigerator, you might want to check into a hospital here pretty soon. Because we'll talk about that a little later. But anyways, it is Cyber Monday now, and hopefully you all had just a fantastic time. I want to welcome everybody to the show this morning, especially if you're watching us on Twitter, you're watching us on YouTube, and if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to smash the little subscribe button. Keep up to date with all the things that are going on with the show. And if you're watching us on Facebook, we're broadcasting on Facebook. I'm so glad that you're being able to watch us. I'm going to check in right now, see if anybody's on there already. I know all of you guys were out Friday. You were probably shopping Friday. You probably had a little hangover today, and you're watching us on our on the broadcast on Facebook. Probably just sitting there looking at all the gifts around you that you've already started buying. We have not gone out yet and gone shopping because we kind of don't like that whole crowd thing. So it's kind of the crowds. The wifey has talked a little bit about doing Cyber Monday shopping. Still debating that, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, a lot of stuff happened this weekend. I hope you were there watching it. I know personally I got to watch a plethora. That's my new word. A plethora of games. On Friday, I watched them on Saturday, watched them on Sunday. Even as our pastor was saying, he's going, I know your minds are on something else, but you're watching the game, you're thinking about the game, but and no, I waited, but by then I already had watched enough of these games where I was just stoked, and we'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. For those of you, this might be the first time you're being a part of the show. I'm Sherman Ray. I'm the publisher of Livin in Vegas magazine, also Livin Weekly magazine, and I know some of you are saying, Sherman, we have not seen the magazine in a while. People have been reaching out to us. Fear not, folks. We will get it back out, and you will be so pleased at what we're doing with it and stuff like that. And also, we're working on a bunch of other new stuff. So that's probably one of the biggest reasons why we have not put out the show or put out the magazine in just quite a while. But it's all right. We'll get them out there. We really will. Anyways, let's take a real quick break. We're going to talk about probably the elephant in the corner that just happened this weekend. I know I'm still shaking my wristbands and stuff like that, but we'll be back with a little bit more of the Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray. We'll be back in a second. Hi everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. We are back, folks. It's Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast, and I want to let's go ahead. Let's get this out of the way really quick, folks. This weekend, folks. Yes, it happened. That's right. The Fremont Cannon came back to Vegas, baby. UNLV played against UNR, our arch rivals, our nemesis, the guys up north, and this time the South won. It's the only time we ever want the South to win. What has anything to do with UNLV. And UNLV played against UNR this weekend. We beat them 27-22. What a game. I'll tell you, this was a barn burner. UNLV held on basically to win because UNR was coming back. UNR's got this quarterback that's like 6'9". He's huge. I mean, he's just a huge guy. And he was probably a foot taller than anybody out there. But he wasn't able to outdo the Vegas boys, and it was just very cool. Towards the end of the game, and we were tweeting about this a lot, that UNLV was going to win this game. And people were watching us on Twitter, so if you follow us on Twitter, you know we were all over this game, folks. I mean, all over this game. And it was just a barn burner. So what that means, for those of you who don't know what the Fremont Cannon is, maybe you're new to Vegas, that kind of stuff, but let me explain it to you. The Fremont Cannon, which is, folks, and they brought this out, the heaviest rivalry trophy in college football. It's like 500 pounds. I mean, it's huge. It's a cannon. I mean, here, show it again. Show it again. There we go. It's a cannon. It's a literal cannon. That's actually a cannon. It's a small cannon. And now that cannon is going to be painted red. So we're going to call it was painted blue for like the last 5 seasons because we haven't won since 2019, so it's 4 years. And but now it's coming back south and it's going to be painted red. We're so excited about that. Congratulations to the guys. Congratulations, coach, quarterbacks, receivers. It was fantastic game, and I hope you got a chance to watch it. So the headline here, and this is from UNLV's page. It says the UNLV Rebels, we're 5-7, 3-5 in conference play. Used the last-minute defensive stand to hold off UN. Who's not much better, tell you the truth. They're 2-10, and they're 0-8 in conference play. It's a shame, isn't it? To win 27-22. Battled for the Fremont Cannon before a crowd of 24,873 folks at Allegiant Stadium. And that was just the beginning of the weekend, folks. It really was. It was just the beginning of the weekend. So much stuff going on here this weekend. Actually, the only team that I know of that didn't win this weekend were the Vegas Golden Knights. Okay, I mean, really, that was pretty much it. So, but there was another game on, folks. I know. A lot of you want to know what happened. That's right, folks. Josh Jacobs. That Raiders. This is like a 80-something yard touchdown. Oh, yeah. This was in overtime, folks. Overtime, the Raiders stomping on the Seattle Seahawks, folks, to win in OT. 2 games. There it goes. I know. It was so cool. It was so cool. What a game. It was a fantastic game. Josh Jacobs, as we said, he already had 217 yards by the time OT had started. And then this run from scrimmage, I think it was 85 yards. I'm really sure. By the way, how many yards was it? 86 yards. 86 yards, and it was... you want to watch it again? Yeah, I bet you do. Let's watch it again. Okay. 86 yards, folks. Bam! Busts through the secondary. He looked back over... Did you notice he looked back over his shoulder a couple times? You know, he was already just making it happen all day long. There's a smile on his face. The team in the background. Look at that. Everybody's excited. Got a big smile. Was that awesome? Yes, it was. Now, for all of you Raider haters out there, and I know they're out there, that you don't have to hate so much. You really don't. I've got a friend of mine. Shall I call him a friend? Yeah, I'll still call him a friend. His name is Manny. So for those of you who really want to know who to hate, Manny Rodriguez, he's the guy, because he's got such a hate for anybody who's not a San Francisco 49er fan. But he lives in Vegas. Here's the problem. And here's the problem, folks. We're not San Francisco 49er fans here in Las Vegas. We're Raider fans. We're UNLV fans. I know. I showed you guys this last week. Okay, I showed you this last week. I'm going to show it to you again. Okay, see that? That's my UNLV bracelet. Okay, my grandson gave that to me last week because he knows I love UNLV. On occasion, folks, I will wear some UNLV stuff. I generally like to wear a dress shirt or something else. But I will on occasion wear my UNLV stuff because I've got tons of it. I got it all over the place. I mean, I really do. I've got a mouse that's UNLV. I've got everything around my desk is UNLV because I'm a UNLV alumni. And so when the game was announced that it was coming up, that we were going to play against UNR for the Fremont Cannon, I'll tell you, we went to the altar and started praying. Just because this is one of those games. It's got to happen. It's not like we want it to happen. It's got to happen. And so that was very exciting for us to see that happen. Here, I want to make sure. Oh, yeah, we're still good. I am so sorry. I hope you guys will hear me this whole time. Let's make sure. Oh, okay. Can you hear me a little better now? I hope you can. I hope you were able to hear me before that. But okay. So UNLV pulls off the big win against UNR. UNR, like I said, UNR wasn't that good anyways, but we don't care about that. We really don't care about that. We just care that a win is a win is a win is a win. Okay? So let's do this, folks. Let's take a really quick break. We'll take a real short break. We'll be back with a little bit more of the Livin in Vegas or the UNLV show. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Be back. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, and we are back, folks. This is Sherman Ray, and this is Livin in Vegas podcast. I really want to apologize. I didn't realize that my microphone was, we had a different microphone setting. So hopefully you're able to hear me a little bit better. And for those of you who are receiving this on podcast, because we do have this on a podcast, we want to apologize so much for you, to you that happened. But hopefully it wasn't too bad. So let's talk a little bit about some sporting events that are going on that could be coming to Las Vegas in the coming at least a couple of years. We definitely know that we're in 2028. It was just announced on Tuesday, and we mentioned this last week, that Las Vegas will host the 2028 men's basketball Final Four at Allegiant Stadium, and it's just the latest of a string of major sporting events that have landed here, including Super Bowl. We'll have the Super Bowl. What is that? 58. So we'll have that. So when Allegiant Stadium came in, folks, it just opened up the door. I mean, just really opened up the floodgates, and people just started going, let's flood it in. And once again, none of this would have been possible without Carolyn and Oscar Goodman. If it had not been for the city of Las Vegas, none of this would have been possible. And so our hat's off. I don't have a hat with me, but if I could take my hat off, I would take it off to Carolyn Goodman, especially Carolyn. She did really great. Oscar, of course, was the kingmaker, so he's the one who made it all happen at the beginning. Las Vegas Convention Authority CEO Steve Hill said the College Football National Championship is next on our list of major events to host. So that will be very cool. We're looking forward to that. We're expanding from 4 to 12 teams in 2026. So this is going to be huge. It's going to be huge in 2026, what's going to be going on. What else? I think we had a couple of other things that we're actually going to hear. 2026, several U.S. cities will be host sites for FIFA, and that's football or soccer. We call it soccer. World Cup matches. Hopefully Vegas, we can get one of those. That'll be really cool. However, Las Vegas has a presence in this month's World Cup in Qatar, Qatar, with advertisements on dashboards during every game. So hopefully we can get some more stuff. Also, of course, we're going to have, we'll have Formula One racing will be here. that and we have all kinds of sporting things here. We have UFC here, which is pretty much on a weekly basis. It used to be that really we were only known for boxing, and we're the boxing capital of the world. But ever since Allegiant Stadium came in, the Raiders came in, the Vegas Golden Knights, and of course the Las Vegas Aces. Come on, ka-ching! The Las Vegas Aces, our women's team. We've just kind of blown up. It's just blown up. I don't know if you've been watching yet, too. The Devil Dogs have been playing. So our lacrosse team has been playing already. Very cool. Just so much stuff going on. Just so much stuff going on here. Let's tell you about a story. There was a family that actually, this was kind of a sad story. There was a family that moved here from Maine, I believe it was. Yeah, they moved here from Maine, and the Bear family, the B-A-I-R, they moved here from Maine just early November, and parked their U-Haul trailer around the corner from where they were staying at. Some idiot stole it. Yeah, stole the U-Haul truck and the SUV that was what was pulled behind the U-Haul or in front of the U-Haul. They lost everything. They lost everything they had. All their SUV, all their belongings, their kid stuff, everything was lost. Well, good news, folks. It was found. All Points Bulletin was put out. Metro and somebody called and said that the U-Haul trailer came up about around the block. It was only a couple of blocks away from it, and they had almost all their stuff was still inside of it. So we're going to actually leave a link to this because they started a GoFundMe page to try and to help them out. I mean, you really need some help in this case where you've got a family who just lost everything, and we want them to feel like, hey, guess what? We came to Vegas and we feel good about being in Vegas. That kind of sucks that that something like this would happen. Another story, folks, that this organization called the how do you say this? Oh, here, I'm sorry. I'm going to get back to this story. I just screwed up something. Here, please tell me I didn't screw this up. Pow, 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 pow. Let me see if I can get back to this story because I just had this story and something happened. Let's see if I can get back to it though. The story is about over downtown. They have the former Greyhound station. Many of you probably know over at the Union Plaza, which is actually the first place. Here's a little bit of something, a little trivia for you. It was actually the first place I had on my real quote unquote job, age 16, was at the Union Plaza. I was a busser over there, bus tables over there in the coffee shop. A couple of my friends were there. But right next to the Union Plaza, on the ground floor, just off of Main Street and Fremont Street, there's a Fremont. There was the Greyhound bus station, been there for years. Well, they transformed that. They pulled out the bus station, and they transformed the bus station into a art installation. So it's a real art museum, and the organization's called the Bertolami Artist City Initiative Project, and they bring art into unique spaces around the country. And so they've got this really cool art installation. You can see a little bit of it right here, folks, right there. Renowned international artist Jonas Woods, Sasumi Kamijo, and Koichi Sato. I said it right. They currently have their artwork displayed there. It's going to be up there. It's open about 3 times a week, and it'll be there until February 26th of next year. So if you want to go and see some really cool art, folks, go out there and check it out. In other news, folks, guess what? Guess who just turned 30 years old? That's right. The Forum Shops down in Caesar's Palace turned 30 years of age. And if you haven't been down there, folks, this is really cool. If you want to see some really cool high-end shops in a fantastic atmosphere, you want to go down to Caesar's Palace and then ask any one of the guards, anybody up in front, say, hey, where are the Forum Shops at? And the Forum Shops have all kinds of cool things. Well, it started about 30 years ago, and kind of sketchy when it first got started, and it's not because it's sketchy because it didn't look beautiful. It's always been beautiful. It's different. It was different then. I remember it 30 years ago, but it just was. They couldn't. I guess the big thing was they couldn't keep enough products for the shops, and that was a problem. And so people were kind of complaining, hey, how do you guys have this beautiful place and you don't have enough stuff for us? So people got a little testy about it, and they said, hey, you guys got to keep a little more stuff on the shelves. But I really encourage you, and we generally don't talk too much about anything on the Strip, but this is something that is historic because it's probably one of the oldest shops in Las Vegas. At 30 years of age, I mean, there's things a lot older than that, but off the Strip, and the Strip, as you know, changes like every week. I mean, it does. It just changes every week. So to have something on the Strip that's lasted more than 10 years is big. And we remember just last week they announced that they were going to get rid of the dolphin exhibit over at the MGM. So go out there, folks, before they tear it down. I don't think they're going to tear it down. But get out there to the Forum shops, check it out, and you will not be disappointed. As a matter of fact, the last time I was out there was probably 2 months ago, and I did an interview with one of the shop owners out there for another podcast that I do, and it was very, very cool. I took great pictures down there. I mean, it's got this Med vibe, this Mediterranean vibe, Greek, that kind of stuff. Caesar's Palace, Roman, Caesar's, Greco-Roman, that kind of stuff too. You've got to check this out. So there was in other news, folks, there was actually a survey that was taken. And the survey they were asking people nationwide their happiness level. Okay. How happy are you in the place that you live? And here, I'm going to turn this just a little bit. Okay, we'll turn that a little bit so that way I'm not so into. Can we move that? Yeah, can we move that? We'll just move that over just a little bit. Okay, so the happiness survey, basically, here, I'll just make it smaller. There we go. So the happiness survey asked citizens, how happy are you about where you live? I mean, how happy really are you with, your city? And so here are some of the results, and I think you'll find this. So they asked people in Nevada, how happy are you with what's going on in Nevada? And so they asked 5,000 people across the United States, overall, how happy do you feel yesterday? And Las Vegas, Nevadans, because I shouldn't say Las Vegas, Nevadans, ranked their happiness yesterday at 7.1 out of 10. Not bad. The fifth highest average score in the country. So if you ask people how happy they are to live in Nevada, generally they say, yeah, it's pretty cool here. And I would say you're right. It's not perfect because we actually have a lot of problems. There's no doubt about it. But being the cheerleader, the number one cheerleader for Nevada, in Las Vegas specifically, I tend to be Pollyannish. Okay, I always tend to look through things with rose-colored glasses. I'm gonna get some redder glasses here, but it is what it is. But if you ask Nevadans about their anxiety, and they were at 3.9 out of 10, the sixth lowest. So we're actually low. So our anxiety level, and it's generally because, and I'm going to say this, we do not have a high-paced, high anxiety ridden society. We're actually very laid back. Many of you know, and I've talked about this before, I tend to drive like a grandma. And you know why? Because we don't have such a huge metropolitan area that it takes so long to get across a metropolitan area that you have to go speeding across there. You can get pretty much any place in Valley in about 15 minutes. And if you don't get there on time, it's because you didn't get up on time. So if you get up on time, you can drive like I do. And I drive like a grandma. I really do. I don't speed anywhere because there's no need to. I don't have to. And I look at some of these people that go driving on the 95 or on the I-15, and they're trying. Well, you can't drive fast on the I-15 anymore, but on the 95, you can get going pretty good, or even in these streets. And they go speeding around, And so many of you know my license plate. And I'll tell you, my license plate is LV, LVN, LV. So it's Love, Living in Las Vegas. LV, LVN, LV. That's my license plate. If you get behind me, folks, do not be surprised that you will probably go pretty slow. And the reason why, I'm not in a hurry. I look at my valley. I look at my city. I marvel at the buildings. I marvel at the streets. I marvel at everything because we live in arguably not one of the greenest cities in the valley or in the States because we live in a desert, but we live in probably one of the most beautiful and one of the cleanest places in the nation. Okay, and I've lived in a lot of places. And I've been to a lot of places, and I can tell you, you go over to Oakland. Man, Oakland is very beautiful. I mean, it's a green place, but it's just dirty. It's just really dirty and old. So take your time. Drive around Vegas, relax a little bit. So other things that they gave us scores on, Nevadans on average ranked their happiness level 7.1, as we said, anxiety 3.9 out of 10. Silver State also ranked 23rd in the country with an average life satisfaction of 6.6 out of 10. Not bad. Meanwhile, 3 of the top 5 happiness resident yesterdays were Georgia, Delaware, South Carolina. Okay, so there's a lot of other things, and we'll actually leave a link to this story. I think we should. We should probably leave a link to this story on our website over at livininvegas.com. You can check it out. It's pretty cool that they have this happiness quotient. And are you happy or are you not happy? And as we said, most people who live here in the valley are pretty happy, even though once again we do have some problems. We do. It's it is what it is, and what are you going to do about that? Do we have time for another story? Barely. So there was many of you know we talked about the Raiders winning. We talked about the Vegas Golden Knights not winning. UNLV winning. So we had a bunch of stimulus money that came here to the state, and we got like $2.7 billion in American Rescue Plan funds. And we're going to leave a link to this because this is pretty important. Governor Sisolak and his cadre of people who are spending money have doled out like 99% of that money. Okay, about 99% of that money. And it went through a lot of different places that the money was supposed to go to. And I'll just give you a real quick rundown on some of the places, but this is something we need to keep an eye on. Okay, because this is not a lot. This is not chump change. There's a lot of money. $530 million to housing. I'd love to find out where that goes to. More than $218 million for pre-K to 12 education, and a massive pot of nearly $800 million for a slew of government services, state technology upgrades, and administrative positions, which means they hired more government officials. Okay. All right, so this is where I got a problem, okay? Government employees were not laid off during the pandemic. They all worked. They stayed working. But you and I, if you had a business, if you worked at somebody's place, you either lost your business or you were fired or laid off. And in a lot of cases, you probably were not hired back, okay? So for them to take, $800 million of $2.7 billion to hire more administrative people, I got problems with that. Okay, so we've got to keep an eye on this, folks. I really do. We will leave a link to this story and all of our stories on our website at livininvegas.com, and you can check it out because we really got to keep our fingers on the pulse of what's going on in our city and on our state. Okay, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right, so thank you guys. Today, once again, is Cyber Monday. Get out there. Tons of deals out there that you can actually take advantage of. So don't hesitate on spending a little bit of money. I know because of inflation, pandemic, and all this other stuff, high prices, that it's going to be tough. But if we all stick together and we all just spend $1 at one of your local stores, we can keep people in business, and we want to work together as a community. Okay. Anyways, this has been Sherman Ray for the Livin in Vegas podcast. I want to thank you once again for being a part of the show. We come to you Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and we'll be back again Wednesday to talk about people, places, trends, events, shape the city of Las Vegas. When you think about living in Vegas, folks, think Livin Local and the return of cool. This has been Sherman Ray. We'll see you again Wednesday for more of the Livin in Vegas podcast. Bye-bye.